Have you ever looked at someone else's life and felt like yours wasn't good enough? Have you ever scrolled through social media and wondered why everyone seems to be winning except you? If you've ever whispered to yourself, "I'll never be as good as them," then this story is for you. Stay with me until the end because what you're about to hear has the power to completely change the way you see yourself. There's a silent disease spreading through our generation, and it's more dangerous than we realize. It's the disease of comparison. We look at someone's success and immediately feel inadequate. We see someone's achievements and think we are falling behind. But here's what we don't understand. The moment we start comparing our chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 20, we lose sight of our own unique story. We forget that the flower doesn't compete with the flower next to it. It just blooms. And today, I'm going to share a story that will remind you why you were never meant to be anyone else but yourself. In a quiet village surrounded by endless green forests, there lived a young man named David. He was kind-hearted, hard-working, and always tried his best. But despite all his efforts, David carried a heavy burden. He couldn't stop comparing himself to everyone around him. When his classmate John topped the exams, David felt worthless. When his neighbor Mark bought a new car, David felt like a failure. Even when he saw someone running faster in the morning, he felt defeated. Day after day, these thoughts consumed him. His grades suffered. His joy disappeared. He walked through life believing he would never be enough, never measure up, never succeed. The weight of comparison was crushing his spirit. One day, an elderly man arrived in the village. Everyone called him Grandpa Thomas. He was known far and wide for his wisdom and gentle guidance. Word spread that he had helped many people find peace in their lives. David, desperate for answers, approached him one evening. With tears in his eyes, he said, "Grandpa Thomas, I work so hard, but no matter what I do, someone is always better than me. Every time I see someone succeeding, I feel miserable. I feel like I'm not good enough. I feel like I'll never be enough. What's wrong with me?" Grandpa Thomas looked at David with kind eyes, smiled softly, and said, "Meet me at the oldest tree in the village tomorrow morning. There, you will find your answer." The next morning, David arrived early. Grandpa Thomas was already there, standing peacefully beneath the ancient tree. He gestured around them and asked, "David, what do you see?" David looked around carefully. Everywhere he looked, there were trees. Some were tall and mighty, reaching toward the sky. Some were short and humble, close to the ground. Some were heavy with fruit, while others stood bare. "I see many different trees, Grandpa," David replied. Grandpa Thomas nodded thoughtfully and said, "Now, imagine something for me. What if this apple tree looked at that tall oak tree and complained every day, 'Why am I not as tall and strong? Why can't I reach the sky like that oak tree?' Or what if the oak tree sighed in sadness, 'I wish I had sweet, delicious fruit like the apple tree. Why don't I have what it has?' Tell me, David, how would that sound to you?" David couldn't help but smile. "That would sound silly, Grandpa. It doesn't make any sense." Grandpa Thomas smiled back. "Now tell me, when you look at this entire forest, how does it feel? Does it feel wrong? Does it feel incomplete?" David looked around again, this time with different eyes. "No," he said softly. "It feels peaceful. It feels beautiful. Everything seems perfectly balanced. Everything seems just right." Grandpa Thomas placed a gentle hand on David's shoulder. "Exactly. Life is no different. Every tree in this forest has its own purpose, its own strength, its own beauty. The apple tree gives us fruit that nourishes us. The oak tree gives us shade and strength. They are completely different, yet both are equally valuable. Both are equally important. People are exactly the same. You are not meant to be like anyone else. You are meant to be you." Then Grandpa Thomas led David to a nearby pond. The water was crystal clear, and fish swam gracefully beneath the surface. Above them, a bird soared freely through the sky, its wings spread wide. Grandpa pointed at them and asked, "David, tell me something. What if that fish spent every single day wishing it could fly like that bird? What if it looked up at the sky and felt sad because it couldn't leave the water? Would that make any sense?" David shook his head. "No, Grandpa. That doesn't make sense at all. Fish are meant to swim. Birds are meant to fly. They each have their own gift. Grandpa Thomas looked directly into David's eyes and said gently, "Then tell me, why do you spend your life wishing to be like someone else? Why do you ignore your own gifts while chasing someone else's? You have your own path, your own talents, your own strengths. Maybe you just haven't recognized them yet because you've been too busy looking at everyone else. Stop trying to be the bird when you were born to swim. Discover who you truly are and move forward with confidence." In that moment, something profound shifted inside David. It was as if a heavy fog had lifted from his mind. He finally understood. Every person is unique. Every person has their own timeline, their own journey, their own purpose. Comparing himself to others wasn't helping him grow. It was only stealing his peace, his happiness, his confidence. From that day forward, David made a decision. He stopped measuring his worth against other people's achievements. He stopped scrolling through other people's highlights and feeling inadequate. Instead, he focused on his own path. He focused on his own progress. He started celebrating his small wins. He started recognizing his own strengths. Slowly but surely, everything began to change. His confidence returned. His energy returned. Life felt bright and meaningful again. He threw himself into his work with renewed passion. He stopped worrying about what others were doing and focused entirely on becoming the best version of himself. Years passed, and David built his own successful business. He became known throughout the village and beyond, not just for his success, but for his wisdom and peace. People would come to him and ask, "David, how did you do it? How did you become so successful?" And every single time, David would smile and share the same answer. "I stopped comparing myself to others. I realized that if a fish spends its entire life trying to fly, it will always feel like a failure. But if it embraces what it was meant to do, if it swims with confidence and purpose, it can master the entire ocean. That's when I found my true strength." So here's what I want you to remember. The sun and the moon never shine at the same time, yet both are equally beautiful and equally important. You don't have to be like anyone else to be valuable. You don't have to follow someone else's path to be successful. Your journey is yours alone. Your gifts are yours alone. Stop comparing your beginning to someone else's middle. Stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Focus on your own story. Water your own garden. And watch how beautifully it blooms. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Because somewhere out there, someone is comparing themselves to you, wishing they had what you have. Let's break this cycle together. Your path is waiting. Walk it with pride.